okay, so he's tracking this thing from the 80s. You're at a school that is thought of as one of the most left or progressive schools. You're in the biology department, which is pretty much...
Oh, there's no biology department. It's so progressive there are no departments.
Oh, there aren't even, right, there aren't even departments, but this is your field of study at least. Right, there's no tenure, there's some other thing besides tenure. But when did you sort of realize, wow, this, I mean, it couldn't have been the day that you sent the email. It must have been a little bit before that, right?
I mean, no, this has been a long road. And I mean, maybe the way to do this is to go back a little bit to Eric's point about the fact that these people who get confronted and who stand their ground over these points are always there for some deeper reason. And Eric points to, they have a relatively complete model that they've built themselves. So how do you find those people? Well, you start saying wrong stuff and forcing people to salute that flag, and people who have built their own model of how the world works won't do it because they can't. Right? They're not built for it.
Yeah.
So I found my way there. You know, I got interested in evolutionary biology. I found some people who were willing to take me seriously as a freshman. At the University of Pennsylvania. I realized I had a talent for it. And then I got to the University of California, Santa Cruz, where Bob Trivers was teaching. And Bob Trivers is one of the great living evolutionary biologists, one of the great evolutionary biologists of the 20th century. So we were just fortunate to land in his milieu. But anyway, that was sort of the evolutionary red pill. Like, this was somebody who was thinking at the frontier of the field. And he had been part of the sociobiological movement, which tried to understand human beings with the same tools that we could understand a platypus. And that was a very controversial endeavor. And in fact, it explains a kind of internal paradox of the left, which is that the left, on the one hand, wants to be a champion of evolution and Darwinism, and on the other hand, the left is deeply uncomfortable with the implications that Darwinism might have for people. And so the sociobiologists were trying to figure out how to map Darwinism onto people, and they did a poor job because actually they didn't have all the tools necessary to do it. But I got a glimpse of that in the early 90s working with Trivers, and I didn't realize it was what I was doing, but I started building up the kit of concepts and tools and lenses that allow you to properly map Darwinism onto people. And so that thing was something I was building, and then when I started teaching at Evergreen, I just simply turned it into the context of my classroom. I taught them the model that I had architected, and they pushed me around, and the model got better. And so the recognition that the story of human beings is actually an evolutionary story, and the sense that we all have that the evolutionary part of humans is a quadrant of what we are is just so wrong that it results in you spotting these wrong-headed movements and things like that. And you know, it's definitely my recognition of where we were and what it meant came over time. I think it wasn't as quick as for Eric. At the point that Occupy happened, which actually I participated in, the quality of the conversation inside of Occupy was so disappointing with respect to what you would need to fix in order to make civilization work, that it kind of woke me up that there was no adjacent solution to the problems we were dealing with, that one had to think farther afield in order to even begin to address them.